2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nooga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings, 10 to 11. Right here on Nooga Radio.
If you want to discover the real hope for your life through inspirational music, relevant messages, and testimonies from others who have already found hope, then we encourage you to visit the second annual My Hope Conference, October 7th through 9th at Hickson First Baptist Church. Free admission and childcare is provided for kids up to pre-K, while those in kindergarten through 5th grade will attend the Kids Hope Rally. For more info, visit myhopeconference.com or call Hickson First Baptist Church at 423-877-2467.
92.7 Nooga Radio.
Beautiful people here in the city of Chattanooga. It's your girl Marie Mott, Show. Y'all know what it is. I'm taking it from the streets to City Hall, from City Hall to the mayor's office. Can't leave out the police department, from the valley low to the mountaintop, giving you guys a bird's eye view to what's going on here in the city of Chattanooga. Good morning, people. Y'all know what it is. It's Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. I'm streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube. Good morning. Wake up. It's Friday. We made it to the end of another work week. The end of, it has been a interesting week in my life. And for anybody who's seen some of the things going on, some of the things that have been said, not only across the country, but as well as even here in the city of Chattanooga, it's been one heck of an interesting week. But I'm still on the job. No matter what happens, no matter what people say about me, no matter what people say about my people or my community, no matter what things that people do, I refuse to throw in the towel. I refuse to turn my back. I refuse to go back because I believe that I've come too far. I believe that people in this society, we've come too far to turn around now. It does not matter the things that are against us. What matters is do we have the fortitude to keep on pushing on and to keep on pressing on, even when it gets hard and even when it is difficult. And so that's why I'm here, because I'm still in the game. And y'all know what it is. It's Know Your Rights Friday. What? It's Know Your Rights Friday. That's what every Friday here at the Marie Mott Show is where I go over constitutional law and provision, hopefully educating you as well as myself, because I do not know it all. This is a learning process for me. Hopefully it is a learning process for you. And I pray that the things that I talk about, not only, I don't want you to just interact with me, because that is important. I don't want you to just interact with me via Facebook or just call in. What I want you to do is your due diligence. I want you to go back home. I want you to bookmark things while you're listening. Bookmark things that I bring up. Why? Because you need to know this stuff. You need to know this stuff. If I was taught the things that I discuss on Know Your Rights Fridays, if we were taught this, I guarantee you people would all over the place would be speaking out about a lot of the things that go on right before our very eyes. But because we are trained to be ignorant and coerced and pushed into calm slavery, a lot of the things that would begin to not only free the chains on our wrists and the shackles on our feet, but also on our minds, we would be able to be free indeed. And I believe that was the foundational work of the founding fathers, was a portion of the free indeed. And even though at the time it may not have included everyone, that does not mean, even though at the time my people were not free, it does not mean that I'm going to toss the Constitution away, because at that time it did not consider me. It considers me now. And so we're covering Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, as well as we're going to go over the Coinage Act of 1792. But before I started to this, I want to say something, and then I'm actually going to read the preamble of the Constitution, and then go forward from there. A lot of things are going on in, and don't forget the calling number is 800-8949 if you want to call in and talk to me. A lot of things are going on in Washington, D.C. right now with Kavanaugh and the confirmation hearing of Judge Kavanaugh. And I see a lot of outrage about the instance of the Kavanaugh confirmation. And there's one thing in particular that I want to say, and that is for those who have outrage, I have nothing against you if you have outrage about what possibly could have happened to Dr. Ford. What I will say is use that same outrage for a woman that you do not know, a woman that you never probably will meet. I want you to use that same outrage and expectation against your Chattanooga Police Department, which has quietly covered up the 4 women here in the city of Chattanooga who have come forward against a police officer and our police chief, Chief Roddy, who stated originally in June that no women had ever come forward against this particular police officer, Officer Logan. And we found out through the Chattanooga Times Free Press, pressuring and doing their due diligence for a change, that was not the case, that we had a victim allege that she was raped by Officer Logan in 2015. I think it is ridiculous that we will have outrage about things from afar and silence about things happening right in front of our face. And so I want to petition you, the listener, that if you have that outrage, please do not forget about the person who you actually may go to church with, who you actually may work with, who stepped forward and accuse a police officer about assaulting them sexually. Good morning. Talk to me.
I want to get my opinion out of the way because I love your Rights Friday and I want to hear it without interruption. But let me just tell you, I'm outraged over the Democratic Party. They have reached a new low. These are the sleaziest people on the face of the earth. There's a process you go through, and this poor man, his family's been destroyed because of a stupid anybody can make an allegation. Mm-hmm. She probably was abused, but there's a woman in Georgia that 5 students accused her of rape that destroyed her career. Years later, they admitted they lied. This woman wrote a book, and I'm going to forward the information to you. Hopefully you'll have her on. You know, memories are weird. They're distant, and hearings they could have attempted to disclose this. The Democrats, they don't deserve to hold any office. They have no morals, and this is over abortion, Marie. This is over killing black in the inner cities. Margaret Sanger hated minorities. This is about the industry of murdering unborn children, primarily black unborn girls. Through Planned Parenthood to keep their power, to even slander a man like Kavanaugh, who, by the way, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have Obamacare. He's the one that ruled it was constitutional. The Constitution has said it's just another tax. But this isn't about Obamacare. If you come out against the Federal Reserve or the murdering industry of killing unborn babies, they to you. Never forget that. And you're right. Take that rage and put it to, you know what amazes me? The way Kavanaugh has been treated is the way minorities have been treated for years with no due process. They treated him. Now, maybe white America will look at this and go, you know what? The way this man has been treated, we can't treat anybody any longer this way. Thank you, Marie.
No problem. I just wanted to put that in context because I've continued to say time and time again that and that's the purposes of my show. We cannot overlook what is happening right here in front of our face, There are supposedly going to be people gathering in Miller Park, the $10.4 million investment of the city of Chattanooga against Judge Kavanaugh. But I have not seen anybody come together with this same attitude for the 4 women who came out against and levied allegation against the occupiers that we call the Chattanooga Police Department, which serve at the will of the mayor. We cannot be selective about justice. And I wanted to point that out. Justice is not a selective process. Justice has to be blind. It has to be blind. So it doesn't have to do anything with personal opinion, how we feel. If you want to give Dr. Blasey Ford justice, make sure you have that same level of care and concern for the 4 women that you may walk across the street from every day here in the city of Chattanooga. Make sure you give them justice here in the city of Chattanooga. And you utilize that same voice and platform for people that you have the possibility of seeing all the time. I just wanted to make that statement because the women, even though the officer does deserve his due process, I think it was questionable that we had the police chief who stated that nobody came forward, and we found out that that was not the case. So I just wanted to make that statement. But moving forward, we're going to talk about Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, because it says it's very short, but it says a lot. It's a lot to cover. And we're going to talk about the Coinage Act of 1792. It's information that we have to know, we should know, because there's a mighty change that needs to happen, not only here in the city of Chattanooga, but all across the country, in the minds and the hearts of the American people. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote general welfare, and securing the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. That is the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. And let's get into it right away. Article 1, Section 10 says, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Woo, that's a lot going on right there. Y'all know what I like to do? I like to break everything apart, blow it apart, so we can see piece by piece what is going on here in this section of the Constitution. And so understand that when the Constitution was written, it never really was supposed to happen. There were a lot of good men who pushed for the Constitution and constantly fought against people who did not want to see it happen, who only wanted it to benefit a specific group of people, constantly had to fight for the Constitution to be biblically based and beneficial for all people. Understand that the reason that we have the Constitution is this is the point in knowing history, is we had already seen the failures of English society. We had already seen the failures of how England and the crown and the king had too much consolidated power and consistently overreached into the lives of everyday people, as well as the fact had established in England, they have
a system. To me, I would consider it almost a caste system, but a system of nobility and titles, even unto today. So we had already seen the mistake of England and the purposes of the Constitution, for what I believe the hearts of the founding fathers was to set. And I quote this quite often by Thomas Jefferson, that the Constitution is the chains that bind men from mischief. Why? Because power corrupts. It does. Power corrupts. Power does corrupt. This is how you can have people in a public setting look you in the face and ask you why you are redressing grievances and petitioning your government to redress grievances at a city council meeting. Because power corrupts. Power, unchecked power. Let me quantify that. Unchecked power corrupts. And so the whole purposes of the Constitution was to ensure that not one part of this system that we call government has any more power than the other. And we learned about this. If you're in America, you've learned about this in late in middle school, some depending on where you went, maybe early in high school, about checks and balances in government. And so let's break this down. No state shall enter into a treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal. Grant letters of marque and reprisal. What is that? So a marque and reprisal is a commission by which the head of the government authorizes a private ship to capture enemy vessels. So one of the things that we dealt with in the past in history was piracy. I know this part is going to be a little boring, but it'll get better if you just stick with me. One of the things that we had was piracy, of course, before we had a navy. Before we had a navy, piracy was very much a large issue throughout the world. And this was a means of ensuring that the government did not have the authority to send ships outside of Congress. This is the whole point in checks and balances. States don't have the right to enter into war in and of themselves. That has to be something that happens through congressional provision. This also is the same difference. States don't have the right to enact any sort of warfare or to send any factions anywhere to capture another enemy. So that's what a marque and a reprisal is. Let's continue. And this is huge. This is huge. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then probably going to double back to this on the second part of the segment when I cover the Coinage Act of 1792. Coin money. The states do not have the power to coin money or emit bills of credit. Now, back at the time when the Constitution was being written, there was only one specific portion of the government that was responsible for making coins that were made only out of gold, silver, or copper, and that was the U.S. Mint. We did not have an overhaul of our monetary system until 1913, when we have the Federal Reserve Cartel, which is a banking cartel, which is illegally, and I'm going to explain why. They are illegally, according to the Constitution, it is forbidden. And I'm going to pause because we don't use that word very often. It is forbidden for any state or the country to coin money outside of anything that is gold or silver tender for a payment in debt. And I want to ask this question, and the person who can answer this, call in, and it can't be Mike still. Mike, it can't be you. If somebody can tell me what is a dollar, if you call in and you tell me what a dollar is, I will sit down and I will take you to lunch. Call in and tell me what a dollar is. And this is important. This is important. And I will take you out to lunch. I'll take you out to lunch. I want to sit down with the listener. Tell me what a dollar is. So they do not have the right to emit bills of credit. If you look at a dollar up until 1963, if you looked at a dollar, at the bottom of the dollar, you used to be able to take your actual fiat currency, which is any paper monies. You used to be able to take your paper money up until 1963 and trade in your dollars for silver. If you remember that, I would love to hear from you. 800-8949 if you want to call and talk to me. But up until 1963, you used to be able to take your actual physical dollars, take them to a bank, and trade them in for silver coinage. Why don't we do that anymore? And we're going to get into that on the second half of the segment. The state does not have the power to pass any bill of attainder. What is a bill of attainder? A legislative act that singles out an individual or group for punishment without a trial. So the state does not have the power to do anything like that. Let's continue to move on. The state does not have the power, and this is a really important situation right here, this part right here. The state does not have the power to ex post facto law. And I'm going to get into what that is on the second part of the segment. Just a little bit left of Article 1, Section 10, because I really want to hit the Coinage Act of 1792, because we have been deceived right before our very eyes, and the evidence is right in front of our face in the Constitution. Y'all hang in there with me. It's Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. Keeping it real with you. Stay tuned.
Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Two men brutally attacked with a knife on Clayton Avenue back in August. One victim, Jesse Whitfield, hospitalized in critical condition. Police have arrested Stephen Shepard, charging him in the attack. Witnesses report Shepard was in an argument with the Whitfields when he whipped out a large pocket knife and stabbed them both, then escaped. A Chattanooga police officer was involved in a car crash on Highway 153. The crash backed up traffic for quite a period of time on Thursday afternoon. Reports say there were no injuries. TDOT officials worked to clear the scene while police took control of the situation. And event organizers canceled the swimming portion of the Ironman Triathlon in Chattanooga due to fast-moving waters and concerns over E. coli. A Facebook post from the event's page shows water readings for E. coli came back showing levels more than 20 times the normal amount, and Hamilton County Fair is canceled this weekend. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News Now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Cash, 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 and more cash. Get 8.1% return on your money. Rick Davis can turn your cash into real money. Gold and silver bullion. American Eagle Gold. The banks give you a measly 1.9%. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll get 8.1% return on your money. 8.1% return on your money. Wow! Whether you're buying an ounce or 100 ounces, Rick guarantees it in writing. 8.1% Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road, Chattanooga.
It's that time of year again. For the 7th year, Wings Over North Georgia Air Show will be Saturday, October the 13th, and Sunday, October the 14th. You'll see some of our government's finest assets flying in the world today. The rarely seen Air Combat F-22 Raptor demo team and the A-10 Warthog will both headline the show, along with Tora, which is the reenactment of Pearl Harbor to include pyrotechnics. Patty Wagstaff and Michael Goulian, both world aerobatic champions, will be showing off their amazing skills, along with numerous other aviation rock stars. On the ground, you'll be able to experience military static displays and even have an opportunity to ride in a Huey or Cobra helicopter. Wings Over North Georgia is an action-packed way to spend the weekend with your family. You can even camp on the grounds. The Richard B. Russell Regional Airport is the place for all the action on October the 13th and the 14th. For tickets and camping reservations, visit wingsovernorthgeorgia.com.
Join Nuga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships, as well as after-school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga roofing contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust. Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet Way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nuga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings, 10 to 11, right here on Nuga Radio.
Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Expect lots of clouds, but dry and comfortable weather out there for your afternoon. High settling into the upper 70s tonight. Partly cloudy, some more late fog, lows 60 to 63. Now for the weekend, looking good through Sunday with some sunshine, dry with highs 80 to 83. Control your diabetes with the help of Hamilton Diabetes and Endocrinology Center, now in Dalton and Ringgold. For more, their number 706-278-1622. And I'm Soar Gene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Today, Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. Oh, man. And you guys would not believe the information that I'm going to start talking about. And I'm telling you, it's about to get dangerous. Oh, man. So, good morning, caller. Your call dropped. I'm sorry about that. So, me and you were talking over the break, and I don't know if you have time, if you're were you the same person I was talking to during the break?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do you have a couple minutes kind of to go over? Because we were talking during the break. Do you still have a couple minutes to talk to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So this caller called in during the break, right when we went to break, about the portion of Article 1, Section 10 that talks to us about no state shall shall have any coin money or emit bills of credit. And what were you telling me during the break?
Basically, during the 70s, Richard Nixon got rid of the gold standard, so they basically could print money without, equal money equals equal gold. And it was basically, money today is now basically just a electronic keystroke, where there doesn't have to be, anything solid behind it. It's just an electronic keystroke, like I said.
That is correct. And one of the things that I was talking to the caller who called in, talking to me right now, was that actually what Nixon did was kind of put the last bullet hole into our financial system here in the United States of America. The reason why we have fiat currency in the way that we do have it right now is because of Woodrow Wilson back in 1913, who established the Federal Reserve Act,
and created the Federal Reserve System as a means of profit for financiers, and really started the cycles that we have continued to see over time, getting shorter and shorter as the years go by, but the impact of them getting larger and larger as far as financial collapse, from the Great Depression to the crisis during the 70s and the 80s. And then when we look at the 2008 financial crisis, each time that we have these booms and then we have these huge busts. Part of that is because not only did we move from the gold standard, but part of fiat currency, and this is why it's important for people to know your history. There has never been a civilization that has survived in all of history where fiat currency is the foundation, or paper money is the foundation of that system. And when you have the reason why we had constitutional provision against this was to protect our country against hyperinflation, because we're continuously printing something that in reality has no value. And so it is extremely important. And I really, really thank you, caller, for taking the time out of your day to call and chop it up with me on the Marine Mott Show. I hope that you continue to listen in, and maybe when we go over the 1792 Coinage Act, that maybe you'll pick up something that you didn't know. But this is a modern phenomena, as well as a lot of the things that we have in our society in these United States of America are really a work that has been happening for at least the last 125 years. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Okay, I was going to call back. You're baiting me. I don't want the lunch because I know what it is.
Oh man, don't tell.
You want me to do it? No, I'll let it go. We'll let it go. See if anybody can get it. What it is.
Give them 5 more minutes, but give them a hint.
It's not tangible.
It's not tangible. I asked again, what is a dollar? If you call and tell me, please don't let Mike Steele give the answer, because I know he knows.
Yeah, don't let me give the answer, because I'm freaking out here. By the way, where it says no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin attend of debit of debts, to make means to pass a legislative act. A debt is created by contract, expressed or implied. So if you when the federal government assesses you for taxes, or you assess yourself, you've created a debt. The state, when they tax you, is not a debt. It's an involuntary exaction. And the state can accept anything it wants to itself because it's not a debt. Debts are created by contract, expressed or implied. So if you have an argument with somebody and you take them to court, always state court, and the legislature passes an act, no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin. It says, from this day forward, gold and silver coin shall be a legal tender. That's what it is. So the money system is the biggest fraud in the history of man. Juilliard versus Greenman in 1868 caused the problem. Then, like you said, 1913, and you're doing a great job. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. I want somebody to answer that for me, because I know I'm praying, I'm hoping that my listeners are students of history, and I want to take somebody out to lunch for their due diligence. What is a dollar? What is a dollar? 800-8949. Ex post facto law. What is ex post facto law? And why is this one of the important parts of what we're talking about here with the Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution? So ex post facto law is basically a crime that has been designated after the act. A crime that has been designated after the act has long since happened. So it's like going back in history for something that you were once free to do and now making it a crime. That's ex post facto law. And the states are forbidden against ex post facto law. So what would be an example of ex post facto law? Because understand, the purposes of the Constitution was to ensure, because we like to say that we're free, and because we're brought into this world, we're here, we are free. The Constitution is just the paper, the living word in written language that ensures that no one disrespects our freedom. And so what would be a physical or real life example of ex post facto law? So when we look at David Toulis and the Title 55, we once were able to travel privately. Now we can't do that. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me. And this is my sister.
Good morning. I was calling because you were wondering what a dollar was, and I was just making sure, you mean as far as like why it was created?
No, not why was it created. What is a dollar? So what is a dollar?
Well, a dollar in the United States is paper money that we use on a day-to-day basis, but it was created to back up the value of gold that we own as a country.
That is actually incorrect. That is not what a dollar is. Oh, come on. Come on. Somebody do their due diligence. I want you to search, maybe look it up. What is a constitutional dollar? Okay. And I'm just, Mike Steele, I guess you're going to have to call and give people what a dollar is. What a dollar is. I don't want to tell them. What is a dollar? But ex post facto law. All right. Go ahead and talk to us. Tell them what a dollar is.
I'm not going to tell them, but we'll give them another hint. I'm going to look in the 1792 Coinage Act.
The 1792 Coinage Act, which I talked about, which is what we're going to end the show with. The 1792 Coinage Act, which is important.
And we'll give them another hint. What is a date? What is a date? A date's in the Constitution. They mention a date. They mention, actually, in the 7th Amendment, I believe they say any controversy of common law over $20, you have a right to a jury trial.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually mentioned in the Constitution. So there's the hint we'll give them.
The 1792 Coinage Act. We're going to give you guys another swing at this because I want you to get it. Fiat currency or paper money, unless it has at the bottom, which again, this happened up until 1963. It used to say that this legal tender, which is your fiat currency, is redeemable for silver, meaning that you could take this paper money, which at one point was backed by gold. You could take this backed by gold and silver. You could take this and you could trade this paper, which now is not worth anything, and you can trade it for silver coinage. We shouldn't have paper money in the first place, but let's stay on topic here. What is ex post facto law? So an example of that is David Toulis. David Toulis and his Title 55, where when we are traveling, we should never be pulled over. We should not be cited with speeding tickets or any kind of traffic violations unless we are participating in commercial travel. Anything outside of commercial travel, meaning I'm traveling with pizzas, I'm traveling with watermelons, I have tanks of hydrogen in the back of my truck, I got collard greens that I'm going to sell. If I'm not participating in commerce, then when I get in my car and I drive, because we have been conditions and people say stuff and we don't understand where this comes from because it's not constitutional. It's not constitutional. Oh man. Good morning. Talk to me.
Well, talking about currency, I was just thinking about inflation. I'm a bit of a gun nut. So when you register a machine gun, it costs $200. Now that was started with the National Firearms Act back in the 1930s. $200 doesn't sound like a whole lot of money, but if you do an inflation calculator, that's about $3,000. If you do inflation from say 1930, $200 to now, it's about $3,000. So where's all that value going? Something to think about.
Oh man, people. Oh, the Coinage Act of 1792. If you look that up, it will tell you what a dollar is, because a dollar is not anything physically that you can touch. It's not anything that you can physically touch. Okay. So, ex post facto law. Prohibition is a perfect example of that. It's not illegal for you to drink. So going and people imposing law on the free right for you to go have a drink is a example of ex post facto law. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me. Somebody want to go?
You're doing a great job. Just wanted to make mention of something. So basically, this Currency Act, where they in 1964, where they took everything off of the silver, and had the dollar no longer backed by silver. Basically, it's also a way that they increased the wage gap. And so, if you go back and you look at, say if somebody was making $1.75 an hour back then.
You're breaking up a little bit, caller. You're breaking up just a little bit.
Okay, hang on one second. Listen, is that better?
Okay, that's better.
Okay, so back then, say if somebody was making $1.75 per hour, okay, if you took the value of those coins, that was a fair market value for your wages at the time. But when they took everything off of silver, and now they've started inflating, with required minimum wages and things like that, they gave the illusion of you getting more money. But because that currency is no longer backed by silver, you have the illusion of having more money, but actually you have less. So say you took those 7 quarters that you would have been paid back then, and you traded them in for the value that they have in silver, that would be at almost $18 an hour. There's your raise in the minimum wage, not just this artificial thing that they're going in and telling you that the government's got to go in and create a minimum wage. The solution is not to fix the minimum wage. The solution is to fix the currency. Have your money be actually worth something, not it's because it's worth something because the Federal Reserve tells you it's worth something.
Thank you so much. Oh, man, let's continue on. So no state shall have the right to ex post facto law or a law impairing the obligation of contracts or grant any title of nobility. Title of nobility, meaning that we do not have kings and queens and princes and all sorts of crown types. We don't have any of that. We don't have earls and dukes and barons and baronesses, and we don't have any of that, which is why it's important when I talk about Chattanooga's mayor, Andy Burke, acting as if he is the king of Chattanooga. This is why the Constitution states that he does not have the power to do whatever he wants, like Chattanooga is his backyard and his kingdom. No. Somebody has to tell him, no, Mr. Burke, we're not going to spend $10.4 million on Miller Park. We may need to do a $1 million upgrade, but we're going to take that other $9 million. And we got homeless people. We have other problems and things that we need to fix concerning the people. What is a dollar? I didn't want to tell anybody because I wanted you to look it up. I wanted you to look it up because you have to know what this is. A dollar established by the U.S. Mint, which was tasked and defined with regulating the coins of the United States because we never were supposed to have paper money. We tried that and it didn't work out too well in our favor. We actually tried this before, prior to the 1900s. And we saw hyperinflation because people were and when you give people the power to just print money, the value of money does not increase. It decreases because it's just like toilet paper. It's everywhere. It does not have any value. A dollar is defined as a weight of silver, which is 371.25 grains of silver, fine silver. And it's regulated by the value of gold coins to it, which is a 15-to-1 ratio. So for every for every 15 grains of silver, that equates to an exchange for 1 grain of gold. So a dollar is not something you could touch or see because it is a unit of measurement. A dollar is a weight value of silver, gold, or copper. And then that value is determined by how fine the gold or silver is. And so the point of this was that so we could have established purity and denominations of money, and to prevent people from printing irredeemable paper money. It is so unconstitutional. Do you know what? If you could call in, not only am I going to take you to lunch, but I'm going to buy you dessert. If you could call in, since I had to tell you what a dollar is, and tell me what is the crime, what is the punishment for printing irredeemable paper money? What is the crime, according to the Constitution, for printing irredeemable paper money? If you call in and give me the answer to that, we're going to lunch and we're going to have dessert. While you look that up, I hear fingers typing. I hear fingers typing. So that means the legal tender that we get every single day, your paper is worth nothing. And the real reason why we have a wage disparity, the real reason why we continue to have a boom bust situation, and the scary thing is that other countries have taken our Federal Reserve System and enacted that in every part of the country. So this is why when America failed, when the markets collapsed in 2008, it wasn't like what happened before, what has really happened before, where it was just our country that went into collapse. No, because every other country in the world has based systems off of fiat currency, which always failed, no exceptions. We're not going to be the exception to the rule. Oh, man. And we're wrapping up here, which means that I need to dedicate an entire show just to understanding what money is, what a dollar is, and why we need to lose faith in anything but coinable tender, which is gold, silver, and copper. I'm waiting. I only got 20 seconds. Somebody call me, please. What is the punishment for printing irredeemable paper money? Nobody has called me yet, and the show is about to end. The punishment for that is death. The punishment for printing irredeemable paper money is death. That means that those who created this system and keep it up, they, according to the Constitution, should be put to death because they are creating a gap in our system as well as keeping you impoverished. Oh, man. Looks like we're going to have to pick this up on Monday. Y'all know what it is. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. I love you guys, and it's nothing that you can do about that. I love you guys. Make sure you guys have a beautiful week here in the city of Chattanooga. See you guys on Monday.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
2 men brutally attacked with a knife on Clayton Avenue back in August. One victim, Jesse Whitfield, hospitalized in critical condition. Police have arrested Stephen Shepard, charging him in the attack. Witnesses report Shepard was in an argument with the Whitfields when he whipped out a large pocket knife and stabbed them both, then escaped. A Chattanooga police officer was involved in a car crash on Highway 153